Hello grade 5, how are you today? Today we will talk about lesson 1 in unit 3. This lesson is talking about the food relationships between all living organisms. We studied before what is the living organisms. Living organisms, they are, for example, we have green plants and we have animals, right? Let's start with the green plants. We know that green plants can make their own food in photosynthesis process, right? They can make their own food from what? From sunlight as a source of energy. By what? By photosynthesis process. But animals, do you think animals can make their own food? No, animals cannot make their own food. So they depend on plants to get energy and food. Like here, we can see rabbit can feed on the green plant in a direct way. It eats the plant directly. Or we have some animals can get the food from plant but in an indirect way, like hawk. We can see here hawk eat the rabbit that eats the green plant before. So animals depend on the plant to get food and energy by two ways. Number one, direct way or indirect way. Now we will talk about the types of food relationships. We have three types. Number one, we have predation. Relation number two is symbiosis. Relation number three is parasitism. So again, we have three relationships between the living organism. Number one, predation, symbiosis, and parasitism. Let's start with the first one. The first relation is called predation. What is predation? As we see here, it's a relationship between two living organisms, right? In which one living organism make what? It devours another one. We can see here the lion devour the zebra, right? Or it's a temporary relationship which ends up by devouring the prey or a part of it. So again, predation is a relationship, is a food relationship between two living organisms or among two living organisms. One of them devours another one. Like here, the lion devours the zebra. And or it's a temporary relationship. Why it's temporary? It's not permanent because it ends up by devouring the prey or a part of it. Okay. So predation consists of what? Consists of predator and prey. Predator is animal that devours the other living organism, like what? Like lion. But prey, what is prey? Prey is the devoured animal, like what? Like deer. Predation in plants. We have predation in plant, but it's less common than animals. Why? Because we know before that plants can make their own food by photosynthesis process, right? But we have some plant cannot absorb other components from the soil to make their protein. So they make what? So they have to prey some other tiny animals such as insects to get their required elements for making protein. These plants are known as insect eaters or insectivorous plants. Like what? Like we have Drosera plant and Dionia plant. Now we will talk about ways of self-defense against predation. How the animals can protect their selves from the enemies. We have two ways. Way number one is called camouflage. What is camouflage? Camouflage is a phenomenon in which living organism it changes its color to simulate the color of its surrounding environment to hide from its enemies, like chameleon. What happened again in camouflage? What happened? The living organism make what? It changes its color. Why? To simulate equal become the same. The same color of its surrounding environment. Why? To hide from its enemies. Like chameleon, we can see here chameleon it changes its color according to the color of the surrounding environment. Like butterflies, we can see here butterfly it changes its color to simulate the color of surrounding environment. Also we have frog and we have cuttlefish. So this way is called camouflage. Way number two is called mimicry. What happens in mimicry? It's a phenomena in which the harmless living organisms imitate harmful living organisms. Why? To fear their enemies and escape from them. Like some bees look like wasps in forming strips. Why? To fear their enemies so they can escape from them. Relation number two, or the second relation, symbiosis. What is symbiosis? Symbiosis can classified into three types. Symbiosis also is a relationship between two living organisms. Symbiosis can classified into number one. The first type is called mutualism. What is mutualism? It's a food relationship in which each living organism gets benefit from the other and is not harmed. Again, the two living organisms get benefit from each other. Like what? Like here in the picture, the relation between primitive organism and termites اللي هو white ant. Number two, the relation between nodular bacteria and leguminous plants as beans. The second type is called commensalism. What is commensalism? It's a food relationship in which one living organism benefits from the other and the other neither gets benefit nor harmed. So again, in commensalism, one get benefit but the other neither get benefits or harmed. Like the relation between sponge and the tiny aquatic living organism. The third type is called parasitism. So we have number one, mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism. What happens in parasitism? It's a food relationship in which one living organism benefits from the other and is called parasite, and the other is harmed and is called the host. So in parasitism, one get benefit and the other get harmed. Like what? Like here we can see mosquito and man. Man is the one living organism that is harmed and it's called the host, and the mosquito is the one that gets benefit and is called parasite. We have types of parasitism. Number one, it's external parasitism. External, what is the meaning of the external parasitism? The parasite here lives externally on the host's body and sucks the host blood, like mosquitoes, lice, fleas, bugs, and ticks. And also we have jawless lamprey. All of these parasites, they live externally on the host's body and suck the host blood. This type is called external parasitism. The second type is internal parasitism. Internal, the parasite here lives internally inside the host's body and feeds on digested food or cells and tissues of the host. Like what? Like bilharzia worm or scarce worm or tapeworm and filaria worm. All of this, they are internal parasites. They live internally inside the host's body and they feed on its digested food or its cell and tissues. Now we'll talk about the harms or the diseases caused by parasitism. We have number 1, filaria worm. It causes elephantiasis disease. And mosquitoes causes what? Mosquitoes cause malaria disease. Fleas can convey smallpox disease. So again, filaria worm causes elephantiasis disease. Mosquitoes cause malaria disease. Fleas convey smallpox disease. Also, bilharzia worm causes bilharzia disease, and scarce worm also causes anemia disease. The third relationship, we said we have 3 types. We talked about predation and symbiosis, and we said symbiosis can be classified into mutualism, commensalism, parasitism. And the third type is called saprophytism. What is the saprophytism? It's a food relationship in which saprophytes or decomposers decompose food remains or dead bodies. Like what? We have mushroom fungus, we have bread mold fungus, or we have penicillium fungus. All of this, they are saprophytes or decomposers. They decompose food remains or dead bodies. Okay, grade 5, I hope everything is clear. Thank you.